Several contestants are forced to vote each other out, take part in dilemmas and win challenges for potentially a 1 million prize pool. Where have we heard of that concept before? But all jokes aside, as someone who has spent over 2 years analysing the reality TV show Survivor, while being a Sidemen fan for over 8 years, the reality TV show Inside felt like the merging of two worlds. Similar to other shows like I'm a Celebrity or That One, contestants are taken out of their usual lifestyles and given basically nothing. All they have is an abandoned house, very basic meals, only cold showers, and no entertainment. The only way for them to upgrade their meals or buy luxuries is through the shop downstairs, using the communal prize pool of £1 million, tied into the selfish versus altruism ideology debated in our society. However, the items sold at the shops are at a steep price. For example, in the outside world, a fizzy drink like this would cost £1, but in this dystopian society, it would cost £500, showing just how much inflation affects things. Insert Brexit joke here. Contestants can also win or lose money in challenges, temptations personally assigned to them, or through small tasks. Additionally, every few days there is a vote with a double elimination on the final day, resulting in a final 5 that then becomes a final 2, competing for the remaining cash prize. The contestants themselves aren't exactly mainstream celebrities, but aren't nobodies either. Instead, the Sidemen went for a middle ground, picking what I would refer to as D-list celebrities. These are popular YouTubers, streamers, TikTokers, or individuals who have previously been on other reality TV shows. Overall, I like the core concept quite a lot, being similar to the likes of Locked In, but with a higher production cost. I watched all 7 episodes quite easily, and that's impressive considering I don't particularly enjoy Love Island, Big Brother, or the aforementioned Locked In that have similar concepts. Part of this may be because every episode felt like a mini version of a Sidemen Sunday, with the reuse of ranking each other, silent library, and many more video topics they've done before. Even the final 2 challenge was split or steal for the remaining prize fund. It had enough Sidemen integration to feel like it wasn't a massive unexpected leap, but still retained its own identity, which I'm sure was a dichotomy the team spent a lot of time weighing up. The casting was also really good, and something I even know Vic has prominently celebrated on the Sidemen podcast. Yes, I know, Leah deserved to win the game, and the 2 most undeserving people won the game, right? But it's this contrast between people being villainous and being unashamedly selfish compared to the heroic individuals that make the dynamic so interesting. As much as I loved her appearance, having 10 Leahs in the household would probably not have been as interesting, because it would have largely been people refusing to spend money and resisting every temptation. However, similarly, having 10 specs would have meant the contestants would probably end the week in debt to the Sidemen. I can definitely understand why people would feel underwhelmed by the final 2 though, and I really wish for season 2 they focus more on the contestants' backstories, as when you understand Manrika's in particular, you understand why so many people wanted her to win the money. Nonetheless, the real moral dilemma in this show is if you're willing to spend money for entertainment. For example, are you willing to buy a hairdryer at an extortionate rate for something that, again, is probably in most of our houses and we can grab in about 60 seconds. However, this in relation also presents the first issue of the show. Like it or not, the contestants have to spend money, so the non-challenge portions are interesting. After all, about 80% of the conflict arises because of the purchases individuals make. The entire sweet subplot happens because of Specs buying so many, and even the dartboard they purchased allowed for Ginge's secret mission to get Manrika to hit 20. However, the money is forever fluctuating, meaning the Sidemen would have to hike up prices or introduce new things in the shop to drop the prize pool, but then had to introduce spontaneous challenges that earn the contestants money to increase the pot. It comes off as a bit manufactured in this way, as it was clear there was a prize pool in mind the Sidemen had, and were fluctuating the environment as well as the circumstances to ensure there wasn't a huge payout while maintaining a respectable prize by the finale. However, the absurd amount of spending is something a lot of people have issues with. If you watch any Inside episode on YouTube, I bet one of the first 5 comments you scroll down to see talk about the contestants wasting money. Don't get me wrong, communal items like the games equipment were good purchases. I think the majority of them were good value and provided entertainment for the contestants as well as the viewers, so in my opinion it's a win-win. However, I can understand the rage at some people spending. For example, in the penultimate episode, Liv bought 8 packets of sweets totaling 40k simply to pull a prank on her friend Specs by making the entire house think he bought them because he was quite frankly a sugar addict. While fun content, it is understandable viewers would find issue with someone wasting maybe 2 years of their salary in seconds on basically nothing, especially with the ongoing cost of living crisis. While I praise the casting of these individuals, it is also one downside to this show, bringing in 10 people quite well off financially. There's more incentive for them to muck around with the money since they know after the week they'll be able to return to their usual high standard of living. The prize money just seems to be a nice bonus. Even Ginge abandons the house and the prize money just so we can leave a day early to watch the FA Cup final. This would juxtapose the average person who would see the 6 figures they burn through daily as a life-changing amount of money. Again, you have to remember these are all influencers looking to promote their streams, TikToks, or Liv's business adventures. Because their odds of winning the money is about 1 in 10, most of them are going to be incentivized to make clippable moments to drive people to their social media pages out of love or hate. Again, any press is good press. The show also felt largely incomplete. Now, to defend the Sidemen, this show was more so a proof of concept. It was a passion project and something they wanted to use to test their boundaries as they expanded into a new form of media. Additionally, they have voiced in the past year they want to have videos where they are less of the focus, such as their 20 versus 1 videos. This will allow them time to research other avenues or just simply spend more time with family, as nowadays 2 are married, 2 are engaged and Ethan has a child. Plus they also seem really keen to do a season 2, which I imagine will be more fleshed out, with this season being used to gauge fan feedback. However, for season 1 it felt like they really could have expanded this concept easily into at least 20 episodes. The actual show only had 3 eliminations before the finale, and said finale had a rushed double boot, a blindfold challenge described by Manrika as a coin flip to eliminate 3 more, and then the aforementioned final 2. It felt like the drama, action and romance was getting somewhere near the end of the season, only for it to be dropped by the sudden finale. Only about half of the contestants had personalised temptations, and there was a lot of emphasis on Ginge having to do so many personalised tasks, made ironic by the fact he didn't even make the finale. Plus there was a significant juxtaposition between the contestants' difficulty levels. Castillo's trial involved him not having to eat Chinese for 30k. Leah on her anniversary had to refuse a meal and meet up with her boyfriend for 30k. Now mind you, Castillo falls for his temptation while Leah doesn't, but I think it says more about them as individuals comparative to the trials themselves. Leah even was the only contestant threatened to have a no regrets tattoo scribed onto their arm during the no move challenge. This might also be me coming from the background of being an absolute social strategy nerd, but I was also surprised by the fact the contestants never really employed voting strategies, especially the likes of Manrika, who had a deep run in the reality TV strategy show The Circle. Voting was mostly based on vibes or individual preferences, rather than trying to establish a consistent majority. There are no alliances or voting blocks, although early signs of a meta seem to be established where individuals can't be polarizing in their excessive or non-excessive spending of the money. It also appears advantageous to only spend money when part of a group, allowing friendships to be reinforced and the decreased likelihood of backlash due to it being a group exercise rather than out of individuality. A really strategic metagame could legitimately arise from this show, particularly considering it's pre-recorded and entirely dependent on the perspectives within the house compared to the audience picking which to eliminate. This means you really have to manage your friendships to ensure victory rather than appealing to the masses. If it was audience judged, it also means you can be a victim of bad editing. That being said, the game seems too spontaneous for a strategic meta to ever be established. Contestants were given the illusion they were voting in secret, only for there to be an advantage that could be purchased at the shops after round 1, showing who received how many votes, quickly forcing contestants to show their cards. This also happened in the fake elimination of Castillo in episode 5, where everyone thought they were voting him out, only for it to be a prank, he got to stay, and all their votes were made public. This was the biggest moment of controversy against production because this was really only a twist just for shock factor. Many have theorized this was also a last-minute twist, where production decided to save Castillo as he would run down the prize pool, meaning he didn't have to pay out as much to the eventual winner or winners. This further, coupled by Ginge being given a custom dilemma, making him highly likely to leave the house, made it seem they always wanted a third elimination, so if it wasn't Castillo, they would make it Ginge. If their thinking was to keep Castillo to drain the money, they were correct, as Castillo almost immediately spent 42 grand in a ludicrously long hot shower. Honestly, I'm surprised Castillo eventually stopped though. Most others in this situation would have probably spent everything as they knew they weren't winning. Contestants also thought they were in private when actually their conversations were broadcasted to the other contestants in the final group challenge. This arguably caused Nife's elimination. Moreover, in the first round of voting, 3 contestants were picked by the Sidemen to be MVPs, thus obtaining individual immunity. These people were Leah, Nife and Phantom, ironically the 3 that would go on to be the likeable underdogs of the season. This MVP immunity trend did not continue after the first vote though. Additionally, the vote tiebreaker in the second vote was revealed to be rock, paper, scissors. I know I'm nitpicking, but after watching Survivor, a revote between the 7 to pick between Leah or Castillo would have been so much better. Again, these are small gripes, plus I'm pretty sure the Sidemen don't want it to be a huge strategy show, but I think it could establish a cult following similar to CBS social strategy shows if they integrate a way for some players to play strategically. Vic has been the most prominent host of Inside, and the most vocal about his enthusiasm for the project of the 7. Plus I know he watches the likes of Survivor, even going as far as to quote it in other Sidemen Sundays. So I wouldn't be surprised if vote blockers or something similar to the Hidden Immunity Idol come in season 2. Overall, despite being a shorter experience than I would like with noticeable flaws, Inside makes for a really fun viewing. Plus I can't believe it took me this long to say, but French kisses for Stephen Tries hosting as per usual. But again, considering I do think I'm the demographic for this, that praise should mean even more. I never find myself looking at the clock, skipping through scenes, or overly disliking the core format. The contestants were all unique, and in my opinion, like it or not, they all chipped into making the show as action-packed as it was. You take one of them out and we would have had fewer rooting interests, chaos, drama, or brevs. Also hot take, but Manrico was the best contestant they casted, and you can fight me on that. Nonetheless, I love the format, especially if you're a long-time Sidemen fan, as Inside is a way of the group honouring their past while looking towards the future, making this show feel like an important bridge for the next generation of Sidemen content. I'm thrilled they took the risk, and the fact that it's a 1 out of 10 on the Sidemen channel at the point of recording this video shows how well they did at appealing to the masses, which usually reality TV shows can't do well, so props to them for that. Every episode had something new going on. The daily dilemmas, challenges and minigames allowed for a really good structure, which I felt locked in was lacking when I watched the second season because of Eleanor Neal. The pre-recorded nature of the show was a good addition, allowing all the conflict to be within the house. We don't have audience votes, and we don't have Jackmate randomly appearing to kick someone out. With the content being pre-produced weeks prior, it allowed the editors the appropriate time to edit everything down without being completely rushed. Hell, we all know there are enough horror stories about the strain of editors' work in the reality TV genre. Although I will always get a kick out of Ginge's episode 1 stream where people ask him why he's not inside the house, still only for him to retort by saying Inside is not live. I firmly believe this is one of the best pieces of content on YouTube. I mean, we're literally getting the quality of a TV show with no region block, completely free on YouTube. If you haven't already seen the show, you can check it out on the Sidemen channel after this video, as a matter of fact. Sure, you can get extra content on Side Plus, but if I recall correctly, a large amount of the Inside content on there was free, and more so exclusive interviews or largely unedited recordings of each day in the house, similar to Big Brother. It didn't feel like I was being dragged off YouTube to get content ripped out of the show, essentially. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was browsing on Snapchat stories like the Gen Z I am, and Chloe's popped up, which is humorous because I've never seen her stories before. Nevertheless, she was posting pictures out at dinner with several of the Inside members, showing they're now friends outside of the show, which is extremely heartwarming. I've already covered strategy-wise what I'd like to see from Season 2, but I'd also love to see Sidemen Golden Balls, Olympics, Tinder, You Laugh You Lose, The Chase and other YouTube concepts to make an appearance. But let me know what you thought about the show down below. Subscribe if you want to check out my Survivor-based channel. Peace!